Our goats keep jumping out of their pen, wandering all over the neighborhood, so they gotta move. I'm gonna show you where this week on Barely Homesteading. All right, here are the troublemakers now. Charcoal, Oreo. Hey, we're gonna get you guys a new place to live. Yeah, because you keep getting out, causing trouble, wandering off to the neighbors. The lower portion of our property, some pretty nice grazing land for the goats. Unfortunately, we don't have it fenced off right now. So that's what we're going to be working on. We want to fence off half-acre pastures. And right now we just need to get one fenced off. We're going to do it over there to the west because we already have one portion of the along the property line fenced off, and we're going to build off of that. Okay, so we're going to start on our fence, and we start in the corners with what's called an H-brace. Now, an H-brace is two vertical posts with either horizontal rails or a diagonal rail between them. And the H-brace provides support and structure for the barbed wire that we're going to run corner to corner, and we're going to stretch it between these H-posts so that it's tight, and that will provide the strength and the structure. So I've located the hole that we want to dig for our post. So I'm going to get the auger, and we're going to dig out that hole and set our first post. All right, first post is in. Now we're going to use the rails to figure out where the next post in the H-brace needs to go so that the rails aren't, or the posts aren't too far apart for the rails to fit in. You want the rails to be able to be compressed between those two vertical posts of the H-brace so that it doesn't want to shift and rotate on you. It gives you structure in the shear direction. And we're going to maintain that that compression on the rails through some X wires, corner to corner diagonal wires that we're going to stretch taut in order and put them in tension in order to put a lot of compression force on those rails. Okay, so we got both posts in. Well, we got one post in. The hole for the other one is dug. We're going to not put that in until we get the rails on so that we make sure that the post is in the right place so that it's not too close or too far away from the rails. So, Sporty Bear's going to come help me. Alright, so top hole in this post needs to get reamed out, so I got to go get the drill and do that. So stay tuned. Alright, hole's reamed out, so now we're ready to try again. Alright, so the post is in. I'm going to pack in the dirt around it, and then we'll do the diagonal wires to get a good strong structure. All right, so we got the H brace in. Barbed wire is nice and tight. It's going to keep this nice and stable as we put the barbed wire on it, string it along. It's going to want to pull on this post. It's going to react that through these posts to this post. And these diagonal wires are going to keep everything square. So it's nice and stable. But you don't want to over tighten it because the barbed wire fencing can snap, and if it recoils and hits you with that much energy, it could hurt quite a bit or send you to the hospital. So do be careful.
So we have found that the soil down here is a lot better than the soil up in our garden. The kids have been collecting worms to go put in our garden beds to help out the soil up there. I'd say we should have planted the garden down here, but it's so far from the house and it's not really convenient. And there's absolutely no water down here.
The kids have also found lots of these.
Alright, so when we're putting in these crosses of wire, we're going to loop it around one end, stable it down good and tight, get to the other end, going to cut it long so that we have excess to loop around this end, and then we're going to stretch that. Okay, so our H brace is in. Now, we had our culvert had gotten diverted, and so the water, for the most part, had been kind of sitting over here. This post, the ground underneath it had gotten wet, and it started to sag, which is why we had to put in this H brace to support this post. To straighten this post up, I had to put a winch on it, and so now I'm going to release the winch, and we're going to see if our H brace holds.
Did it? Oh. Yep, moved a little and now we got some saggy.
This one's tight now.
We're going to have to tighten one of our X's. We did divert the culvert to try to keep the water back where it's supposed to be rather than rotting our posts, which is why the kids are all over there gathering worms, because that's where we've been digging.
Alright, took the winch off. Our post did move, which is not unexpected. This barbed wire in the X got much tighter. One down here, one here, loosened up. So we'll come back with a twist bar later and tighten this up. But right now, I think this is steady enough that we can keep working on the fence line. Okay, now that we've got the H brace in, we're going to start setting the T-posts along this side of the pasture, and we're going to equally space them along the this line, no more than 12 feet apart. So I'm going to get the tape measure out how long it is, and then start spacing them out.
It is in the post.
Faster than I am pounding. Of course, it helped having the kids lay them all out and everything.
Yeah. Okay, no! You idiot goats! You have got a pasture full of grass and weeds!
I know, but they like to find things out.
Okay, no!
That's why we're getting them away from the house.
So for this side of the fence, we're actually not going to do wooden H braces. We're going to do T-post H braces. And you can do this with some special brackets that are made especially for the T-posts to make braces, either H braces or other types of braces. And so you can pick these up at most stores that are going to sell fencing. The reason we're going to use these is because it's just barbed wire that's going on here, and we don't have to actually attach anything to it other than the barbed wire. And so it goes in much quicker, and it's actually cheaper than the wooden post as well. Alright, so these brackets are made up of 3 pieces. They've got a universal bracket, slide collar that slides over the T-post, and then there's a wedge that's going to sit in there and hold that bracket in place. And then, sweetie, come here, baby bear. You got to come back. There you go. Okay, and then because we're doing an angled piece on this H brace, there is an angled bracket that slides into that universal collar to hold another T-post in the diagonal. So I'll show you how this all works. Yes, we're making fence. All right, and so this H brace is done. Super fast, takes way less time than the wooden post do, and as long as all you're doing is attaching barbed wire fencing to it, it does the job. All right, we got the lower pin in for the gate hinge. We're going to drill the hole for the upper pin, and then the gate will be pretty much installed. Okay, gates in.
Alright, so last night when we were stringing this top round of barbed wire, we accidentally pulled out the corner post of our T-stake U section, H section, because it is not quite, maybe not even close to a right angle, and so they weren't supporting each other in the right way. And as we tightened the barbed wire, it just pushed the post over. So we are going to be fixing that this morning, and then continuing on with our efforts and trying to get this enclosed for the goats. Today, because look at how happy they are eating. They like it here.
To attach the barbed wire to the T-posts, they have some special T-post clips. The clips wrap around the T-post, then they've got a long end that you can bend around the back of the barbed wire, and then to hold it on, I like to give it one twist around so that it can't come off of the barbed wire. All right, so we're working on getting up the electric fence, and we had a portion of the fence right along the property line that was already put in, and all of the T-posts were backwards from what the normal installation would be if we were putting the fence in ourselves. Which means when we're putting in the isolators for the electric fence, all of the isolators want to go the opposite direction from the way that we want the fence to be. So what's a homesteader to do when they don't make isolators that are the right application for what you're looking for? Well, I found these isolators that are made for chain link fences. And if you look, they work just about perfect. They work just about perfect for a backwards facing T-post. So they stay in there pretty good. They don't have anything to interface with the knobs on the front side of the T-post, so they may slide up and down. I may have to wire them up later on, but right now we're going to see how they do, and let's finish getting this electric fence up. All right, so we got the goats out for the day. They stayed in their pasture all day once we got the the electric fence fixed and adjusted. We're taking them up to their pen for the night, and they'll come back down tomorrow. So seemed to work out pretty well, and I think that once they get used to it, they'll enjoy their new pasture down here in the fields. All right, so we've got the pasture completely done. Now we had to electrify the fence because the goats kept getting out through the barbed wire. Because this is so far removed from the rest of our property, we had to get a solar powered energizer for the electric fence. The goats have been down here for a couple weeks now and it's working really well. We had a bear attack since they've been down here and the bear didn't seem to bother them at all. So, and the goats haven't gotten out since we've electrified it, which means, at least to me, it's working pretty well. We had to go with 3 strands of electric wire between the 4 strands of barbed wire. That was what ended up being able to keep the goats in. We originally had 2 strands of electric wire and Oreo was sneaking between the 2 strands and the barbed wire. So this is what we ended up with. We currently only have this sunshade for them. We haven't been able to do anything down in this lower half of the pasture, in the lower half of the property I should say, because we haven't had a way to get down here. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we will be putting in a pull-out further down on the property so we can drive the truck and a tractor down here. But right now it's only what we can carry by hand. We also have to get permitting taken care of through the county, and then we will be putting in a loafing shed for the goats. We got to get that done before winter. One last thing I'll say about the goats is if you are looking to start with larger animals, I do not recommend starting with goats unless you want to have an animal who's going to test every single weakness of your fencing and exploit it to the maximum extent possible. These 2 rascals have been a real handful, but they've taught us a lot about the fencing, and I don't think we would have any problem putting any other animal down here. Sheep or llamas, probably even cows would be fine, because these 2 guys have really tested our fencing. So want to thank them for that and just warn anyone out there who's thinking about goats to keep that in mind. They are real escape artists. So with that, this is Lumberjack for Barely Homesteading, saying use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Please like and subscribe. See you next time.